In front of me is one of the most prized Fujifilm lens. This is the 200mm f2 Fujifilm lens itself. Now this lens has been with me for many years, and in my review video I was saying that all this lens lack is a great camera, and Fujifilm seems to may have delivered that camera yesterday. That is the XH-2S, and today's video we'll be talking about it a little bit. I'm not going to spend too much time because I don't have a review sample here, neither do I have any real life experience using it yet. And when it comes to using cameras for the purpose of portraiture, I have certain requirements myself. So today is not a review definitely because I have no cameras, right? But based on what I've seen so far in the videos and reviews from other people, I have to say that I'm relatively excited. Now the specs are quite obvious. I mean, it is everything upgraded from the old XH2. It uses a better EVF, better system, and everything else, if you ask me. But most importantly, it is now using the stack sensor. And this stack sensor has 40 frames per second capability in shooting RAW. And it can burst for a good 170 over RAWs before filling up, which is great. This puts the camera in the territory of high-end, full-frame flagships. It is the same as the R3 in many ways, at least for photography purpose. It can shoot even faster than the R3 with RAW capabilities. Pretty much, it is a flagship in the APS-C body in terms of performance itself. Very similar to what we saw in OM1. And the AF system, based on what I have seen so far, when it comes to portrait detection, it seems to detect the face and eye really far away. It looks like it's either as good as the Z9 or even better than the Z9 when it comes to detecting subjects far away that's human-like. I'm really looking forward to testing it because for the purpose of portraiture, that is really essential to me. Now the accuracy of the AF so far seems to be very good. Some say it's great, some say it's very good. I have to test it myself because my purpose is usually for portraiture. I'm not going to get my subject to run towards me and sprint towards me, but things like sudden changes, sudden movements, dancing, spinning, these are things that I care, and I hope that the Fujifilm XH-2S can perform. Like all the other flagships I have tested so far, all of them could catch the subject within 2 frames. But 2 frames for the XH-2S will be a lot shorter. I mean 40 frames per second versus 30 frames per second versus 20 frames per second. If the XH-2S does perform well, when the subject spins, for example, with the 200mm lens, I could capture the eye within 2 frames, I'll be stoked, really stoked. Now other than that, everything else was great. And I'm also, I would say, as excited for the video functions in the XH-2S for 2 reasons. Firstly, the dynamic range is improved now, f-log2, and based on what Gerald Undone did, it seems to be able, to reduce the noise easily, quickly, and obtain maximum dynamic range. In fact, its dynamic range may be even greater than some full frame when it comes to usable dynamic range. Now, this is where the important part is. Dynamic range is all about the usable part of things, not about just dynamic range itself. And if a little bit of noise reduction allows you to retain the details and still retain its usable dynamic range, I think that is the best. So the XH-2S looks like it has very easy to correct noise that allows you to have tons of usable dynamic range. And I have to say the truth, I'm excited to try it because these days I've been shooting a lot more videos, and APS-C has a place in there. It's lighter, it's smaller, easier to use. So if you ask me, the XH-2S is turning out to be very exciting. Oh yeah, I didn't say one more thing about the videos function that I'm really excited, and that is ProRes. When I was using the DJI, I was so happy to use ProRes because ProRes drops easily in the computer, quickly and painlessly able to edit with no issues. Every other H.264, H.265, the moment you add a few filters in, it starts to slow down a little bit here and there, a little bit of jitter here and there. ProRes is just nice. I mean, yes, given it is big, but for my usage, I'm not going to record more than 30 or 40 minutes of footage. ProRes is probably the way to go for me. I'm really excited about it. Overall, I think the XH-2S is turning out to be the camera to be mounted on this lens. It is literally a flagship in the APS-C sensor size. Very excited to try it. Now, the cost-wise is a little bit high, 2,500 USD or 4,000 Sing dollars. I was a bit surprised by the Sing price. It is higher than expected. But that said, if it can perform like a flagship, maybe it isn't that bad. I mean, even you compare to every other flagship out there, even the R3, which is the cheapest now at 7,800 Sing dollars, it is still half the price of the R3, having the same megapixel, faster burst rate, and very similar video functions. I mean, the R3 can shoot internal RAW, that's the best thing, but you have ProRes on the XH-2S, so I guess it's fair. And not only that, the XH-2S doesn't overheat, except for 4K 120, and when it does overheat, it's like what, 1 hour and what, 6 minutes, according to Gerald Undone. It's too long. I will never use so long of 4K 120, you know. So I'm very excited about the XH-2S. If it really delivers its capability like what I think it should, a flagship with an APS-C sensor, even at 4,000 Sing dollars, I will actually consider using it so that I can just utilize this lens. I mean, this lens is just fantastic. I mean, who keeps a lens with no camera, right? I don't have a X series camera for nearly 2 years now. I sold my last X series camera 2 years ago in the XT4D, and I tried out the XT4, XT3, XS10. Yeah, I don't have any X series camera for nearly 2 years. This lens and the 1755 f2.8 was the only two lenses, or 1655 2.8 was the only two lenses I kept for the X series itself. Why do I keep these two lenses? Because I felt that they were great, and one day I'll be back. Maybe the XH-2S is that one day. I hope that it is true, it performs, and I'll be happy to purchase and use it too. But if it doesn't perform, I will just wait for the next generation, maybe the XT5 or the XT50, or maybe some new flagship, I have no idea. But this lens, great stuff. That's bye for today. I hope you enjoy my short little rant. It's literally short. And also my initial thoughts of the XH-2S, because I think that camera with Fujifilm has a lot of potential. That's bye for today. I hope you enjoyed this, and I'll see you next time. Bye bye.